Good afternoon, Rotarians. All right, you guys are getting it. I am Kevin Kassir. I continue to be honored to say I am your president for this year. So, looking out, good to see a big crowd. I'm pretty excited about the program today, as I like to remind all of you that a proud alum of the University of Iowa Business School, but I had nothing to do to set up this meeting or this program today. A special thank you to Juan Garcia for being our greeter today. As a reminder, we make it really easy for you to sign up as a greeter. Just when you walk out that door, there'll be a sign-up sheet, and put your name down there. It's a great way to serve the club, and it's a great way to get to meet all of the Rotarians and guests. We also have a sign up for the Moment of Inspiration, and I'm pleased to say a big thank you to Susan Scharnberg, who will give our Moment of Inspiration today, the Pledge of Allegiance, 4-way test, and then we'll greet our members. So, Susan.
Good morning, Rotarians. Good morning. Or it's probably afternoon right now. I'm also an Iowa alumni, so I'm very glad to have these folks here today. As many of you know, I like to find quotes that fit our topic of the day. However, I ran into a bit of a snag today when I went to find quotes for that were about business schools. It seemed to be only from very large ego executives who were critical of business schools. So that didn't work out quite so well. So I thought we'd find another current event. The Olympics. Right? Yeah.
Spencer Lee.
I have 3 facts for you about the Olympics that I thought you might enjoy. Fact number 1. The modern-day Olympic Games were inspired by the ancient Olympic Games that were held in Olympia, Greece, in the 8th century BC to the 4th century AD. I didn't know they were that old. These were pagan athletic events that were held every 4 years, termed an Olympiad, during the second full moon after the summer solstice. As many as 40,000 people would attend these Olympic Games. Now, this history was acknowledged in the Bacchanalia scene in the opening ceremony that some Americans particularly mistook for the Last Supper. It was based, actually, on a famous painting, The Feast of Dionysus, that featured Bacchus. He was the purple guy you saw on your screen. And the Greek sun god Apollo, and he was the guy with the sun rays emanating from his head. So the ancient games actually began 8th centuries before the birth of Christ. That's kind of an interesting piece. And we know how the French love their art, so that was another reason for that. Fact number 2. The modern Olympic Games began when Baron Pierre de Coubertin founded the International Olympic Committee in 1894. So relatively recently, 1894. The first games were held in Athens in 1896. World War I and II led to the cancellation of the 1916, 1940, and 1944 Olympics. And there were large-scale boycotts during the Cold War that limited participation in the 1980 and 84 Olympics. And then, of course, the 2020 Olympics were postponed until 2021 as a result of the COVID restrictions. Fact number 3. The Olympic flame is a symbol linking the ancient and modern games. The torch relay between Athens and the site of the games began in 1928, so again, relatively recently. You may have noticed the torch looked a little different this year with the balloon cauldron that we saw in Paris. This historical reference was noting that the French actually developed balloon flight. And so this was the reference. And with the LED lights and the misting to mimic flame, it was also an energy-saving effort on behalf of the French. However, you might not know that the actual flame from Athens was being kept in a lantern in a building very nearby the cauldron. Again, the French have their own style of doing things. The Olympic motto is Citrus, Altius, Fortius, Communite in Latin, or faster, higher, stronger together. I hope you are enjoying the Olympic Games. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And please, now the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Now let's greet our fellow Rotarians. How are
Good to see you, Joyce.
Good to see you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We have several guests today that I want to introduce and ask you to stand and remain standing, and then we will recognize you at one time. First, we have Sue Tempero, she was here last week, former member of the Indianapolis Downtown Rotary Club, a guest of John Lewis. And also, remain standing if you can, and then we'll recognize everybody all at once. We have Jim Lewis, Executive Director of the Vaughn Institute at the U of I, a guest and son of John Lewis. We have Michael Gould, Director of Business Development, Iowa Economic Development Authority, and a guest of John as well. We have now guests of our speaker. We have Meg Reif, Director of Development, the U of I Business School. Barb Thomas, Executive Director of the Outreach Events at the Dean's Office, and a proud member, I'm sure, of the Iowa City Noon Club, and past president of the Iowa City Noon Club, so welcome. Adam McLaughlin, new Director of Alumni Engagement. And then also Joyce Wheeler, we have Waukee Rotarian and farm assistant spouse of Todd Wheeler. So, welcome everybody. I don't know if John Lorenzen is here today, but it is his birthday, so if you know John, send him a birthday wish. Next we have Where in the World is Club 27? And we have an Olympic player today. So we have a picture of our Susans, Susan Scharnberg and Susan Junkins. in Paris, it looks like, on one of the bridges there over the Seine. On a barge. Okay, awesome. And we also have, there we go. We have Eric Oberfeld's family, his two daughters, and they were in the AAU Junior Olympics in Greensboro, North Carolina. I talked a little bit with Eric about how they did, so ask him about it. He's proud to speak about his talented daughters. So thanks for Susan, and Eric for taking us along. Now it's time for Did You Know? So the first question is, who has the most Academy Awards and how many? Meryl Streep, no? Not Walt Disney. Eric, good job. How many does he have? Walt Disney did he have? Any idea?
I don't know, 40-something. I know he has about
26. 26. Good job, Eric. Okay, if anybody gets this, they're going to really get an award. Can y'all see that? I'm going to try and pronounce it. This is a phobia. It's Hippotomonstrosis quip aliophobia.
Fear of hippos.
Fear of hippos? No. No swimming. Fear of long words. Fantastic. I did not think we'd get an excellent job. There you go.
I'm really good at trivia.
There you go. Sorry, I was too long. And now we're going to bring up Steve Wooten, our co-chair for Rotarians on the Floor Laughing. What do you got today, Steve?
I would say fear of long words, but that's already been taken. Thank you for that rousing welcome. It's great to be here. Today marks the first day of the Iowa State Fair. How many people knew that? Showing hands. Very good, very good. Okay, well, if you're going to the Iowa State Fair next Friday, August the 16th, our own Elaine S. This is not the funny part, okay? Our own Elaine Estes will be honored as the Iowan of the Day. And Elaine will be on the Bill Riley stage at noon. I do not know if she's going to be singing or dancing. She will be there. Congratulations, that's great. But as I said, today is the first day of the Iowa State Fair. And food always pushes the limits of whatever is possible, especially on a stick. So with that, we're going to have a quiz today for members and guests to test their fair cuisine. I'm going to say a couple things. I want you to raise your hand if you think it's a real food or a fake food, okay? First off, Fireball Whiskey Banana Donuts. All of you think it's real? Okay. How about fake? Okay. It's real. Okay.
I had 3 this morning.
Did y'all hear about the naked guy that was running around downtown? Ad-libbing this may be better than trying to do it. Okay. Okay, real or fake? Candied asparagus on a stick. Real? Come on. You know.
I'll say it's real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fake? Fakes have it. Okay, this is one everyone should get. Deep fried Slim Fast bars. Fake? Real. That's real. Okay. Last one. Thank you. Deep fried hot dogs. Real? Fake. You guys never heard of a corn dog? Okay, that's it for laughing.
Okay, now I'd like to invite Art Boleen up to introduce our speaker today. Art?
Sweet, I got more gloves than you do. I'm also a grad at the University of Iowa, and it's my pleasure to introduce my friend, Dean Amy Christoph Brown, who's the Dean of the College of Business. Now, as most people do when you're going to introduce somebody, kind of, even if you know them, you look things up to see what you can say. So I went to the University of Iowa website, and I pulled up some information about Amy, printed it off. You know, it's activities, awards, publications, presentations. It ran 10 pages. I thought, well, that's quite a bit. Let me find something else. So I Googled her name. A little stuff came up about an interview she had a number of years ago. It was 9 pages. So I went to LinkedIn, 5 pages, but I didn't print all the pages. So I'm beginning to think that this is one very accomplished woman. And with your permission, I'm going to skip going through all of the things I read and go straight to the chase. Bachelor's degree from the University of Richmond, PhD from the University of Maryland. Following that, she came to the University of Iowa in about 1997, worked her way through the business school, professor, other positions, and became the interim dean in early 2010 or 2020, just in time for the COVID, and became the real dean at the end of the year. So she's been there 4 years. In that 4 years, the University of Iowa Business School has been named continually among the top 25 public business schools in the United States. And in that 4 years, she got a 20% increase in enrollment. So we're going to let her tell us how she pulled that off. Amy?
What Art didn't tell you is all my titles of publications are really long, so that explains the very lengthy webpage. All right, thank you. Art already covered a lot of this. I am an Iowa transplant. I did come here in 1997. My husband followed a year later in 1998. We raised both of our daughters here. My funny story about my job interview is that I told the department chair interviewing me that I thought Iowa would be a good place to come for a couple of years until I went back to the East Coast to raise my family. And he just smiled and nodded his head and said, "We'll see." And 27 years later, here we are. I have had the pleasure, true pleasure, of serving in a number of different leadership roles throughout the college. My home department is the Department of Management and Entrepreneurship, and I have held several different leadership roles in that capacity, moved up to the collegiate level leadership, becoming the Senior Associate Dean for Faculty, and then as Art said, I stepped into the interim dean role on March 1st of 2020, and on March 13th of 2020, we closed everything down, and so that made for a really interesting first year. So one of the benefits of that, and I'll tell a quick Barb story for those of you who know Barb, is that when you have a team of people who you know really well, managing a crisis is okay. Right? You can do it because you trust the people who are around you, and Barb was one of the members of that team. And I remember when I got appointed and took the permanent position of dean in December of 2020, we were still enough in COVID that there was some concern about getting together. And Barb arranged for a champagne popping party on my front lawn, where everybody spaced 6 feet apart and had bottles of champagne. So it's when you surround yourself with people who really make the place that you work a great place to be that you decide to stay there. And that's one of the reasons that I've always stayed at the University of Iowa. The mission at TIPI is really quite simple. It is for us to provide business education and research that really generates bold solutions in a diverse and changing world. This world is very different than the one that I walked into in 1997. Every year there are new issues that we're dealing with, new jobs that our students are getting trained for, new industries that didn't even exist when I stepped into this role. So our job, and one of the reasons that I think we all come to work every day at Tippy, is that we get to introduce them to the exciting new opportunities that are in front of them. And that's one of the best things that you can do, I think, to change the world, is changing the next set of people that are going to go out and lead the organizations in that world. So it's an exciting place for us to be. We have 5 strategic priorities. I'll just go through them very quickly. I think they probably wouldn't surprise you. The first one is to educate career-ready students. And we educate them with a specific focus on identifying, solving problems, and communicating solutions. We have a very strong communications curriculum. The University of Iowa consistently rates as the only top public university in writing across the disciplines. We are very proud of the Frank Communications Center, which actually started as our accounting writing program. So we are very well known for having accountants that are some of the best writers and communicators in the industry. And we have shared that now throughout the college. So we get them ready. We get them ready for jobs. A lot of that now involves internships. So if you are in a company and you would like some eager, well-trained, ready to do things interns, please come and talk to me, and I'll connect you with folks who can get some of those interns in front of you. I'm looking at Michael Gould, who's one of our champions for the Ensure Your Future program, which looks at very early stage internships for students. These can be students even as early as not even starting their freshman year in college, and they are going to work in the insurance industry in Iowa. And so that's a program that we are just delighted to be a part of, and thank you, Michael, for all the work in that space. We are also an R1 research institution. We are in the highest level of the Carnegie classification for research institutions, so we're very proud of the research that we produce and then translate for practitioners. Our research is heavily geared toward making managers be better, making investors be better, making employees be safer, smarter, all of the things that we want our employees to be. So we're very heavily focused on applicable research to the business world, and that's a large part of what our faculty do. We also innovate for lifelong learning. I'll talk a little bit about our portfolio of programs. We are constantly changing what we offer. We still have a BBA, a bachelor's degree in business, but we have a lot of other parts of that program that are changing. We also partner to promote economic, entrepreneurial, and community success. We take our relationships with the community very seriously, and we want to think about how can we be a better partner for companies. My mantra at the Tippy College since I stepped into the dean role is we are Tippy and we are open for business. So come talk to us, think about ways that we can be a great partner for you, because we're really excited to do that. And then finally, we really work every day on cultivating an accessible, welcoming, and respectful community where all of our students, our faculty, our staff, where we can all thrive. Because that's the best way that we can create an environment where people can truly be successful and love what they're doing and bring their best selves to work every day. So those are our strategic priorities, and we have a great team dedicated to making those things happen. Thank you for mentioning that we have consistently been in the top 25 in U.S. News and World Reports as an undergraduate public business school, so we are very proud of that ranking. As our president says, we don't pander to the rankings, but when they're good, we're more than happy to talk about them. And so here are just a couple of our latest. One of the things you'll see there is our online MBA program has just been just growing phenomenally and being very, very well received. And also our programs for veterans. We have a lot of flexibility, and we have some great people working in our recruitment and admissions side to really get our students into the MBA is your MBA as you would normally think of it. The MSBA is a Master of Science in Business Analytics, which is one of the biggest emerging career fields right now. And that's a great opportunity for many of our veterans that are coming back that really have great computer skills, and it's a great way to continue their career progression. Some of our programs of excellence that really get elevated and do well in rankings are accounting, business analytics, general management, entrepreneurship, RMI, our risk management and insurance. You'll hear a lot about that today, and also economics. We are also very proud of the fact that we are an accessible college of business. This is partly what distinguishes us from some of the other people in that top 25. One of the ways that business schools become elite is that they only take a very, very small percentage of students. And we are very proud of the fact that while we have standards for getting into the business school at Tippie that are higher than the standards for getting into the University of Iowa, they are not at such a level that it screens out most of the people who are applying. We are very interested in being accessible. Our namesake is Henry Tippie. He came from Belle Plaine, Iowa, and he always, in our conversations with him, would say, I don't think I could get into Tippie anymore because I was a C student and I barely made it through. He was very humble and often undersold his capabilities. But he said, it's really important to me that it continues to be a place that can change the lives of regular people. It doesn't have to change the lives of people who already have all the opportunities in the world. Let's think about how do we change the lives of everyone who needs it. And so we're very proud of being an accessible institution. And one of the things that we've done recently is we've really expanded our online programs for working professionals, because those are a lot of the population that we want to be able to serve, not just undergraduate students who can come back and do a 4-year degree, but people who have very full lives, that work jobs, have kids, have pets, work in their communities, go to their churches. They do all of these things and they want to further their education. So we want to be accessible for them as well. I put on here our undergraduate tuition. That probably changes sometime this month with the Board of Regents. It will probably go up slightly. It has been the last couple of years. But we are still in a very good position. We're one of the lowest in-state tuitions for Big Ten schools. We're in the sort of lowest 1 or 2. And then in terms of non-resident tuition, we're about average in the Big Ten. So we try and keep our tuition very affordable, and then we generate a lot of scholarship money to try and make sure that we can make that difference to be able to help students come back and get their degrees. As Art mentioned, we are a growing college. We have been expanding ever since we moved into the Papa John Business Building, which if you've been on campus, everyone refers to as the new business building, for those of you who graduated from Phillips Hall. But the new business building is 30 years old. And so we have a terrific facilities team, and they're wonderful, but we are bursting at the seams. So one of the things you may have seen recently is that we are going to be expanding our physical footprint, and we are actually going to be renovating Gilmore Hall, which is the original law school on the campus of the University of Iowa, and we'll be annexing that to attach to the Papa John Business Building. So lots of good things to come there, but our enrollments continue to just soar, which has been great, and we love welcoming these additional students every year. We have made some bold moves. We've made a lot of press in recent years, particularly for the closure of our of our full-time MBA program. It was a terrific program. I taught in it for 21 years. And I actually taught the students the morning after we made the announcement that we were closing the program. So I have been there through a lot of the history of this program, and we were serving simply a shrinking market. There are fewer people who are leaving their jobs to go back to school for 2 years to get an MBA, and we got to the point where we didn't feel that we could offer the number of electives, the highest quality that we wanted to be able to for that market. But we had a working professionals market that was eager to have more content brought their way. And so we transitioned. We closed that program in 2019. In the wake of that closure, we opened our specialty master's programs in finance and in analytics, and then we opened our online MBA in 2019. There was a lot of interest in us at the time. We were the first Big Ten school to close a full-time MBA program, and so there were a lot of questions. There were a lot of concerns, and so this was the Wall Street Journal article headline when we were closing the program. You don't really want to be in the Wall Street Journal for that kind of article, but we have since been recognized now as leaders in making that decision. And so Poets and Quants is a website that really focuses on graduate education, and then the Financial Times, which many of you are aware of, had us as the lead story in what United States schools are doing in the MBA shakeup, and so we were the lead. We made hard decisions, we made bold decisions, and we've been really excited to see that evolving for us. This is our footprint now in our online MBA program. We still have a physical location here in Des Moines, and so if you have people around who are interested in coming here to this building, we do have classes here at the Papa John Center downtown, but we also have students located all over the country. Right now, we are running multiple sections of online classes a night. When we do online, we still meet via Zoom, and we keep our class size at about 40 students. That makes us very different from programs like Illinois, who have classes of 300 to 600 students in their online sections. So it's a highly personal program, even though it's conducted via online instruction, and we continue to have record enrollments in that program each semester. Risk management and insurance, you might have heard a little bit about that recently from some of the gentlemen over at this table. One of the most exciting things for me when I became the dean was I got to go around and visit with people once COVID was finished and I could go physically interact with folks. And I kept hearing over and over again, why don't you have an insurance major? Why don't you have an insurance major? You have a Vaughn Institute named after Emmett Vaughn, but you don't have a major. And so I came back and I said, why don't we have a major in risk management and insurance? And the director of our Vaughn Institute said, because the dean never let us have one before. And I said, well, I'm the dean now, so I think we can change that if we want to. And he said, that's great, we have a major ready to go. So originally, like a long time ago, we did have a major in risk management. It went away in a series of decisions that were made by previous deans during a time when major consolidation was a trend. And so now we've reopened this risk management and insurance major. And our goal was to have about 90 students in the first 2 to 3 years. How many do we have right now, Jim?
Well, at the end of, beginning of May, we had 323.
323 is what we had at the beginning of May. So it is an extremely popular major, and that is in large part due to some of the exciting things that we've been doing. We doubled the size of our faculty in risk management and insurance. We hired Jim Lewis, who's been a terrific executive director for our Vaughn Institute, and we started with Michael working with the Insure Your Future program so that students in risk management with any interest at all, they don't even have to be a risk management major, they can get an internship with a great insurance company, learn about that industry, and that program has just been generating so much attention and great interest from students. We also have a lot of scholarship money that goes toward our risk management students. So if you know of students that are in Tippy or that are high school students that are thinking about coming, this is a terrific program for them to get involved with. Great job opportunities for them. This is just something we are so proud of. We're getting ready to make another big announcement about RMI in the next couple of weeks, so I'll just leave that teaser out there. Oops. There we go. Entrepreneurship is another exciting area for us. Last year we launched our RMI major. This fall we're launching our entrepreneurship major in the business school. This is an interdisciplinary major that pulls classes from finance, analytics, entrepreneurship, marketing, pulls them all together to get students really ready, well-trained in business to launch their own businesses. We have also started this year, we're just getting ready, we haven't done the publicity for it yet, but we're launching a venture fund, which is something that a lot of the Big Ten schools have. It is called Hawkeye Ventures, so it is pretty easy to figure out where we're based, and it will be a venture fund that has the goal of investing in businesses of Iowa-based alumni. So if you've graduated from one of our programs, we're interested in looking at your business and potentially investing money in it. So we've got a lot of folks very, very excited about this. Just some stats on the number of businesses that we've worked with, startups, jobs created, clients that we've served across the state of Iowa. And I'm really excited to announce that as of Tuesday, we now have a new executive director for our JPEC Center. That's the John Papa John Entrepreneurial Center, and that is Adam Cuny. So Adam has been affiliated with entrepreneurship for a long period of time. He started his own great company in the ed tech space, and he has been working with us on our board for a while. He established our Hawkeye Ventures Fund last year and then decided this would be a great time to come in and lead the center. So this is going to be a terrific opportunity for us to continue expanding our footprint in entrepreneurship across the state and across the nation. We've also introduced a really exciting pathway in our accounting program. For those of you who have accounting backgrounds, you know that many schools focus on sending students to public accounting. That is where we have had incredible success placing our students. We have nearly 100% placement rate with our accounting students in public accounting. But what we're hearing back from businesses is, like, we need accountants now, and we need them in our companies. We can't wait always for them to leave public accounting and then come back to our businesses. So we are launching a track this fall that specifically focuses on preparing students to go directly into corporate accounting. And this, I think, is going to be very responsive to needs of businesses in the state. It's also going to provide some great opportunities for students that want to major in accounting and stay in Iowa with businesses that they've grown up around, with businesses that are growing and thriving. So exciting stuff happening in that space as well. For those of you who maybe haven't been out to Iowa City or would like to get a little taste of it, Barb actually launched several years ago a terrific webinar series. We started them a little bit before the pandemic, but once the pandemic hit and we couldn't get out to do large gatherings, we started holding webinars. And so we have faculty expertise webinars, we have panel webinars on a variety of different professional topics. We have career-focused webinars for people who are interested in advancing their careers. You can find all of them at our Tippy YouTube channel, which is a great place to go, and you can get a variety of great topics. This fall, we're also launching a Tippy Leads podcast, where you'll hear from some of our alumni, but also some of our best faculty talking about interesting topics. This fall, we're talking about wellness at work and toxic relationships, and how you kind of can work in those spaces and do it in a way that is healthy and change the environment that you're in. So great stuff coming out that's just very publicly accessible. You don't have to be an alumnus to click on our YouTube channel, and you'll see we have several views, but we've got lots of them that are up over even 1,000 views. I will say Toxic Bosses, I think, was our most popular, there were a couple that were up there. AI was also a very big one. It's got thousands of views at this point. So lots of great stuff going on in that space that you can access at any point in time. Oops. Partnering for economic success. This is our picture from the last Hawkeye Caucus. We love coming down here to Des Moines. I'm actually out here about every 3 weeks now. I am really excited. I'm now just stepping onto the board of Ballet Des Moines, so I'm very excited to work with them. And I'm here lots of times down at our Papa John building as well, and meeting with folks. So if you see me around here, please stop me and say hi. These are some of our corporate and community partners. We are very deeply engaged throughout the state of Iowa and nationally. Great partners that we work with in a number of different ways. And we have a terrific partnerships office, strategic partnerships office, that is happy to sit down and talk with you about ways that we can be a great partner for you. Whether it's because you want to hire new students, whether it's because you want to help developing your workforce, whatever it might be, we can think of ways to be helpful for you, and we have people ready and eager to do that. One of our great partnerships is based here in Des Moines. It's the Global Insurance Accelerator, which I was introduced to by Jim Lewis. And it is a great partnership between the GIA, which is based here in Des Moines, the John Papa John Entrepreneurial Center, and our Vaughan Institute of Risk Management and Insurance. And so it's a great opportunity for us to bring terrific entrepreneurial training to these startup insurtech companies that are getting their roots, getting started here in Des Moines, and then hopefully beginning their businesses and bringing them back here to Des Moines, because this is a great space, a great ecosystem for our insurtech firms. So we're very excited about it. That's a great picture of you, Michael and Jim. And just It's terrific that they're always out there advocating for us. And this has just been such a fun partnership. So I'll be back down here in just a couple of weeks. We have our kickoff event, I think, for the accelerator going on this fall, and then the symposium that'll be this spring, which is great. Another set of terrific firms. All right, I want to end, before we take some questions, with asking you if you'd love to join us for an event. There's lots of different ways that you can participate with us. And first of all, we have our Alumni Awards Banquet. We are recognizing, we always do our Distinguished Alum and our Young Alum of the Year. This year, our Distinguished Alum is from here. And so we are recognizing Brandon Miller at E&Y and Rita Guzman, who's in Chicago. She's our Young Alum of the Year. That's going to be in town. I can't see the date around the thing.
September 13th.
Oh, September 13th. There it is. Sorry. So September 13th, you're welcome to join us. It's in the Old Capitol. Beautiful setting to recognize these wonderful individuals. And then we're doing an event out here, and I know that Adam and Barb would be happy to talk about that after the meeting out at Wilson's Orchard, and that is an event open to any of our alum, or if you're a friend of an alum, certainly welcome to join us and come with us. But we'll be out here then homecoming. We'd love to have you come back to Iowa City, join us for our barbecue. It's right next to the parade route, so it's a great place to be. And then we have the football game against Northwestern, hopefully a win for us that Saturday. And then Tippy Women's Summit, which Barb is running the programming for again. That runs for most of the month of March, and we have in-person and webinar events as well. So lots of ways for you to tap into our folks. I didn't fully answer the question of how did we grow the enrollments, but I think the idea of having programs that students are interested in and making sure that we're consistently innovating in the space and making sure we're serving students where they are and serving businesses and what they need. That's really been our secret sauce for making sure that we're staying relevant and engaged with folks. So that's what I had to present, and I am happy to answer questions. I have to repeat your question, that's what I've been told. Yes, please, in the back.
How much interaction or collaboration, if any, is there with the RMI program and the actuarial science program?
That's a great question. The question was, how much interaction is there between the RMI program, which is a major in the business college, and the actuarial science program, which is a major in statistics in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Those students, many of our actuarial science students also get a certificate in risk management and insurance. They're invited to all of our open career fairs. Jim has worked with a lot of those students, bringing them over. They're invited to all of our programming as well. So many of them take the core classes that are in the risk management and insurance program, but they also have a heavier dose of really sort of heavy math classes that they take from the statistics department. It's a little hard for people to double major because they're actually two separate degrees. It's a BS in actuarial science and it's a BBA in the business school, so that's a little harder. Most of them will do the actuarial science major with the RMI certificate on top of that, and then we work with them to get them professionally ready to step into that space. Yeah, they're great partners with us. Yes, over here.
You talked a little bit about the Tippy College's focus on creating a diverse environment, both for faculty and for students.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about, in the wake of some legislative restrictions on diversity, equity, and inclusion, what you do to kind of overcome some of those legislative obstacles and create that diverse student body that not only do you want in the college, but those who recruit from, the organizations and businesses that recruit demand.
Yeah, the state issues have given us some guardrails that we need to make sure that we're staying within, and we're very happy to do that. We never had any type of race-based admissions or anything else that was on any of those protected characteristics. So we didn't have to change anything there, which was good. There are some scholarships that would give a preference to people from a particular background. And so we're working with Meg's team pretty closely and working with our legal department to make sure that we're doing the best job we can of honoring the wishes of the donors of those funds, because they came to us with money that they wanted geared in a particular direction. And so we want to make sure that we honor those wishes, but that we do it within the state parameters. And then honestly, our approach has been just making sure that whatever we have is open to anyone. And so that's, rather than kind of shrinking what we're able to do, we've been more likely to expand it. So we used to have some programs that were restricted. They were never really restricted, but they might have given greater attention to individuals from a particular background. And now we've just said those groups are open to anybody. All of our student organizations are open to anybody. And so I think it's important to know that we will continue to have things like our Women in Business is one of our most popular student organizations. We have over 300 members in Women in Business, but Women in Business is open to anyone. They address topics of women in business, but they have male members. They often have men that attend their meetings. Scholarship money that goes to members of Women in Business is open to men or women. So what we've tried to do is open it up a little more, but still make sure that we're serving all of those populations. Yes?
You could expand a little bit about your comment of meeting students where they are.
Mhm.
Specifically, they've never known a world without social media, without Google search.
Yep.
So in terms of intelligence, ambition, and skill set, where are they today versus us, 2 generations ago?
I feel like that might be a loaded question. But the question was, how prepared are students really when they're coming in, right? How are they ready? How are we meeting them where they are? And how does that compare to previously? I would say the answer to that changed a little bit post-COVID because of the fact that every year students they're much better at technology than I am. They're much better at technology than most of their parents and their grandparents. So they came in really tech ready and expecting technology to be there to work for them. What happened during COVID is because of a lot of the changes in instruction style, changes in the amount of time that they had to socialize with each other, they came in perhaps a little socially not prepared, and some of their math instruction had fallen behind. So we've had to make sure that we're catching up on making sure they have the math skills to step in to the space that we need them to be ready to function in. Social skill wise, we have really encouraged our student orgs to hold their meetings in person. There was still, even in 2020, a lot of virtual meetings were being held. So now they're really pushing to get people back together and making sure that they have the opportunity to dialogue together and be together. We're holding a session this fall, again, talking about diversity a little bit, making sure that students are comfortable talking to people that are different and hold different views than they do. That's what universities should be able to do, is get people to talk to each other when they don't agree. And so we're holding a pilot test of some civil discourse conversation. We talk about freedom of speech a lot. Everybody goes through freedom of speech training. So we try and make sure that students get comfortable being in environments that they may not be comfortable in. How prepared are they? They jumped on to things like ChatGPT right away. We were ready for them. ChatGPT launched in November. We had already changed our business communication and protocol class by January when they started, so that ChatGPT became a part of what we were using in our business communications class. So we were ready for them, but they are constantly pushing us to be ready for that next step.
One more question.
Oh, one more question I get.
What's your gender balance and how does that compare to historical trends?
Yeah, great. Our gender balance is not exactly balanced. We're about 38% women in most of our programs. 45% is about the max in most business schools. It's very rare that you have a perfectly 50-50 gender balance business school. So business schools, engineering schools tend to slant more heavily male. So we make sure that we're making all programs accessible to everybody. We make sure that we're not talking women out of going into business. We often hear from our pre-business women that, I want to have a career that makes a difference. And so we talk to them a lot about, you can make a difference through business really, really intensely. You can make a difference by offering funding in communities and building a company and leading people and all of the things that we teach. So we would love to see that number continue to move up a little bit and get closer to like 45. But right now we're at about 39-40%. It's been slowly ticking up, but it's slower than we'd like to see. Thank you for the questions. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Amy, for the great presentation. So glad you could be here, and thank you for all you do and taking the next leaders, bringing the next leaders to us and moving Iowa forward. Next, we have upcoming meetings. There we go. Next week, we have our district governor, Dave Cook, who's going to share what's going on in the district. And then we have 2 programs coming up that will be pretty interesting for folks to bring guests to. We have Mike Draper, he's the founder and owner of Raygun. And then we have Robin Anderson, the state chief economist. So those will be interesting meetings to bring a guest to. Other things going on, as a reminder, we have our next morning fuel on Tuesday, August 27th from 9 to 10 at Freedom Blend Coffee. On that Tuesday, we will have our own Paul Schickler, former president of Pioneer DuPont, who will chat with us. And it's just, again, an opportunity more casually to get to know other Rotarian members over a cup of coffee. We get to know one in particular, get to ask questions. It was a great time. As I said, we had 17 folks the last time we held it, so I'd like to get 20 this time. And then also we signed up our next one on September 17th, and it will be our own Lynette Rasmussen, and she has been the CEO of her company, Rasmussen Group. They own 11 different companies, by the way. She's now handed off the CEO spot, and she's now the Chief Culture and Community Officer, but that'll be September 17th. Oh, sorry, I forgot one thing, didn't I?
Yeah, that's okay.
We have the Thank Fall event that Becky started last year. I wanted to bring that back. Again, no meeting that week because this facility is unavailable, so perfect timing for this. September 26th at Chester Park Nature Center. So join us for that, put that on your calendar. Okay, and I want to again remind you all that I'm going to end with this for all of our meetings, just to remind you what our strategic initiatives are for this year, and for you to think about what you can do to help one of those strategic initiatives. And it can be real simple. It can be reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, let's talk. We haven't gotten to know each other. How about let's grab a cup of coffee? Or become a greeter. Or another option under that membership is when you run into somebody in your work, in your daily lives, ask them if they know about Rotary and see if they'd like to come join us for a meeting. So little things like that, you can help us build those pillars for a more successful Rotary Club of Des Moines. Thank you again, Amy. Thank you to Juan, Susan, and Art for helping out today. Thank you all for being here, guests as well. Make it a great Rotarian week. We are adjourned.